Hello and welcome to Slow Crafting Podcast, episode 29. My name's Nadine and I'm coming to you today from the northwest of England near Manchester. It's very warm in the conservatory today when I'm recording. I think we've already got temperatures of 26 degrees in here, which for me, living in the northwest is a bit more than I'm used to and can cope with. But it looks set to continue for the next week or so I'm going to have to get used to it. But yes, I'm recording early in the morning because I think yesterday it got up to 42 degrees in here. My poor little northern soul cannot cope with such temperatures. Right, after my waffling about the weather, which was very British, this is a podcast about knitting, spinning, crochet and sewing, and trying to incorporate a slow living or slow fashion agenda into increasing my handmade wardrobe. Right, today I'm actually going to talk to you about outfit number 3 for the year. So those of you who've watched before will know that I'm trying to create 4, well, not complete outfits, but multi-parted outfits and multi-item outfits over the course of the year, rather than working on individual things without any idea or any view to coordinating or matching them with anything else in my wardrobe. So again, I've got a handy little drawing to show you what the overall outfit is going to look like. Obviously I'm using a standard like fashion template, so it's going to look different on my shape and size, but here we go. Right, so I'm going to have a crochet shawl, a yoked cardigan and a dress that's got sort of 2 colour panels to it, and then coordinating socks again. Right, so hopefully that makes sense and you can picture it in your head when I show you all the bits of it. Right, the socks, we'll start with those because they're the most basic thing, I think. I already have one knitted. Now, in all honesty, I did cast this on at the beginning of the year when I'd run out of other projects, but it sat in my bag unworked on for quite a long time. And when I was trying to work out what I was going to make to coordinate with this outfit, I suddenly thought I don't need to be finding any other sock yarn out because I already have some and it will go with what I'm making. So the yarn that I've used is just some that I had in stash. Now I got it from my local yarn shop one time when I went in with my mum and we bought matching balls of wool. So at some point she may well also have socks like this, but I know my mum, she's a stash hoarder, so she might not, it might just sit and be petted in a corner. Right, so it's Grundle, Hot Socks, Mambo, and I don't know if it's got a colourway on it. No. Oh, colour 606. So no interesting name or anything like that. Now it is 75% wool, 25% polyamide blend, but it's stash, so I'm fine with that. And I've just done a basic sock pattern, so a 1x1 twisted rib for the cuff, a modified eye of partridge heel, so with the garter stitch down the edge, heel flap and gusset, and my standard toe decreases. Now, although it does have quite a few colours in it, the orange and the sort of khaki green colour do coordinate with the cardigan, because the orange is in the yoke and the khaki green colour is in a couple of places, and that's going to be in the dress as well. So yeah, nothing very exciting to report on these. I did quite a short cuff. I started doing really short cuffs on my socks, just because, short leg, just because I'm really lazy, and I'm like, oh, I just like to get them finished and done and on my feet. Although perhaps not in this weather, much as I love wool socks, not in this weather. We are going to Orkney in a few weeks' time. I've been looking at the weather up there, and it's like 15 degrees. I thought, I could cope with that. I could still wear my knitwear. I can still wear my knitted socks. So I'm very much looking forward to going up there. And if they have a mini heat wave whilst we're there, I'm not going to be happy, because I'm looking forward to wearing my wool again. Right, so that's the socks. The jumper or cardigan is, I've forgotten to look up the designer. It's this, I think it's this, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's the Afmeli, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's normally knit with Let Lopi. It's an Afmeli design, but I've modified it. Now I was always going to modify it to make it into a cardigan, but I was, because it's a jumper normally, I was going to have the yoke bit and just work it solid and just have it open from the bottom of the yoke downwards, but I wasn't paying attention when I cast on, and I got it twisted, so I had a lovely Mobius yoke. Sorry, I was just looking at my little girl's outside playing with some stuff, but she weren't very quiet, and became suspicious that she was doing something she shouldn't have been. But all was well. So yes, I was going to work it as a solid yoke and then open from the yoke down, but once I got it twisted, and I didn't notice until I'd worked a good few inches, a good couple of inches in colour work, and I thought, I'm not ripping that out. I'm not redoing that colour work. So I carried on and finished the yoke, and then I was very brave. I did a crochet reinforcement along either side of where I was going to cut it, and I steeked the top bit, so you can see there's the like cut edges there, and I've sewed it down afterwards just to keep it neat and in place. And I think once I've knitted the button band on, I will sew a ribbon or something over the inside, just to cover up those loose ends. One, to make it look tidier, and two, to stop them rubbing and fraying and coming loose. So yes, and it was surprisingly not scary. And I think after I did my sweater surgery on my mum's blaster cardigan, I've become quite blasé about hacking at my knitting with a pair of scissors. Is the Ridari sweater that I showed you a couple of episodes ago that I'd knitted for my other half, he complained that it was a bit tight, and I finally blocked it for him the other day, and when it was blocking, I did say to him, if it's too tight, I'll quite happily cut it up the middle and put some rubber bands on it for you, and you can have it as a cardigan. Well, yeah, a couple of months ago, wouldn't have gone anywhere near my knitting with a pair of scissors, but now, like, yep, fine, we'll do it. And these, the wools in here are just like scraps that I had left from various other projects. So I think this really dark one here is alpaca, actually. There's a couple of superwash wools, some 100% wool that's not superwash from my local yarn shop, and then some mystery bits that have been, I think this dark green one here was from somebody else's stash that I got donated, and it feels like wool, whether it's completely wool or what, I don't know. So I've not even been brave with really rustic grabby wools. Yeah, let's go for it. And it's worked out well. So like I said, this is a half millimetre. I didn't work the neckline as high up as it goes because it should have some more ribbing at the top before it goes into the rolled stockinette. But I don't think that's flattering on me when a cardigan sits quite so high up. So I've got it sitting slightly lower down. The green, I don't know how well you can see, but it's a really mild colour because it looks like there's 3 strands plied together: a grey, a bright green, an orangey brown, and a yellow. So overall it reads as green, but it has got quite a complex colour makeup. This was more old lady stash. One of the ladies from my knit group that I used to go to had died, and she'd given the stash to the group. It was some of the wool from there, and I've already knitted or crocheted a big poncho out of it, which I've worn before, and I thought I should have enough to do a colour work jumper. So I think I had about 250 grams of it left. I don't know what that was in yardage because I'm not actually sure. It tells you because it's really vintage wool. It is 100% wool, and it makes me laugh because it's called chubby. It's a DK weight, but it's called chubby, and yeah. So every time I use it, I'm like, oh. In a chubby cardigan for myself. I'm easily pleased. What can I say? So yes, I'm hoping it's going to fit because I didn't do a gauge swatch beforehand, which was rather naughty, I know. But we'll see. We'll see once it's finished. I'm gonna let me show you. The arms are full length, which for me is unusual. I normally do 3/4 length sleeves, but I wasn't sure how long I'd be able to make the body, and I didn't want it. I was happy having a cropped length in the body, but if I was doing that, I wanted full length sleeves, because sometimes in my head, if it's got a cropped body and cropped sleeves, it just looks like you've shrunk your cardigan. On me, not on anybody else. Anybody else can get away with it. But the half Mealy sweater has you doing some more colour work at the bottom of the sleeve, and then doing some ribbing and rolled stockinette edging. But I've done this in moss stitch and in the green that matches the collar and one of the colours in the yoke, because that khaki green ties in better with the green on the socks and the green that's in the dress. Now I did it in moss stitch, even though I hate moss stitch with a passion, because I didn't want the bottom of the cardigan to have ribbing on it, and I didn't want it to be rolled stockinette either, because I didn't want it to, because it's got no waist shaping in or anything, it's just loose and open. I didn't want it to then come in lower down at the waist or at the hip, just because it looked a bit balloony and it wasn't a silhouette that I was wanting. So I thought I'd have it more A-line and do a moss stitch hem and button band. Now, when I've done the button bands, I'm not actually going to do buttonholes. We're just going to do plain moss stitch for both sides, and then I'm going to sew buttons down so that the yoke is permanently closed, and I'm only going to have buttons at the yoke. I'm not going to have them down the rest of the cardigan. because that was my plan in the beginning, to have a closed yoke. I've just modified how I'm doing it. So yes, I've got a good way down the body. I am going to work some colour work around the bottom before I get to the moss stitch hem, but I've not decided yet whether I'm going to improvise something or use the colour work that's at the bottom of the afternoon. And I'm onto the second sleeve as well. It's odd working with DPNs again on a sleeve, but I think doing the socks last month or the last outfit on DPNs has got me a bit more used to them. So yeah, that's that cardigan. I'm using 4.5mm needles, which is the gauge recommended, or the needle size recommended for the pattern. And the wool that I'm using is a DK officially, rather than a worsted or an Aran, because I think the Let Lopi comes in at about a worsted weight. But the fabric that I'm getting at that gauge, even with this DK, because it is quite a chubby DK, it's fine. It doesn't look too loose, so I'm happy with that. So that's the cardigan. Now, the dress that I'm going to make, should I have some coffee? Is again from the Stylish Dress Book by Yoshiko Tsukiori. And last time I made dress E. This time I'm going to make dress F, I think it is. Yes, look, even next to each other on the page. So yeah, that was the one I made last time, but this time I'm making, no, there we go, this one. Now you can't really tell much from that picture because the patterns of the fabric's quite jazzy, but it's another loose fitting, quite shapeless dress. In fact, I think the sides are pretty much straight. You might get a better idea of what it's going to look like from the schematic. Yeah. So yeah, it is slightly A-line, and it's got a slit in the neckline. Now, once again, I'm going to do it without sleeves. It's got big arms, and it's not a fitting issue I want to deal with, and it means I can wear a cardigan without having to ruche things up. So yes, now on the picture I've drawn it as a dress length. I'm not sure it's going to work out that way. I think it's got to be more closer to a tunic length, so I might have to wear it over leggings. Now the fabric that I'm going to use, the main body of it, I'll show you. I've got a bigger piece here, but I'll show you on this small piece, is this sort of leaf print fabric, but I'm not leaving it this colour. I'm going to over dye it, I think, with khaki green, because I'm going to pair it with quite a wide stripe at the bottom of this khaki green, and I think because it is quite shapeless, having it all in a light coloured fabric is going to make me feel like I look bigger than I do. I am, and I'm not, although I'm wearing quite a pale colour today, I don't often wear pale colours on the entire length of my body. Certainly don't wear pale colours on the bottom half of my body. Pale colours in the top half, yes, sometimes not. I'm trying to think what's in my wardrobe. Yeah, pale colours on the top half I'm fine with, but pale colours when it gets to the bottom half I'm less comfortable with. So yes, I'm going to over dye it in a khaki green. The other reason that I'm over dyeing it is because this is recycled fabric. This was some curtains that my mother-in-law gave me. Oh gosh, it was years ago, because I made a dress for my oldest daughter, who's now 5. I made a dress for her out of this fabric, and it was gorgeous. It fitted very interestingly because it was a self-drafted airline pinafore thing that had to cope with being wide enough at the bottom to fit over real nappies, which I think was where the fitting issues caused problems. But no, I used this fabric, and it had a red octopus on the front, and it was absolutely gorgeous. But yes, but because it's curtain fabric from my mother-in-law, I wanted to over dye it so that when I wear it, when I go around there, I don't have my in-laws going, "Was that some curtains in our house?" Not that there's anything wrong, because many outfits that I've made from recycled curtain fabric, but I don't want it to be the focus of attention at all family gatherings, or getting cheeky comments if I'm stood near a window or something in my curtain dress. So yes, these are the fabrics. This is scraps left over. I don't even know what kind of fabric this is. This one's a thick cotton, and I don't think this is 100% cotton. I think there might be some man-made fibres in here somewhere. I could burn a bit of it and find out, but I'm not that interested, because it was in my friend's mum's fabric stash, because she'd used it for a project for something, and then she'd given me the leftovers. And then I've made several pairs of shorts for my oldest girl a couple of summers ago. She wanted some shorts to go on holiday with, and she asked for some Chris Ackrig shorts. Now, I don't know how many of you know who he is, but he's basically a bloke who does really unusual cycling routes and things. So he's always cycling over big rocks and mountains and riding his bike along really narrow stretches of top of railings and things like that. But she used to watch videos of him with her dad, because her dad's into cycling, and so she said, after she'd watched several of these videos, she's like, "I want some Chris Ackrid shorts." So I had to make her some little like Bermuda short style shorts, but with a patch of a bicycle on the corner. So they were Chris Ackrid shorts, and she still loves them because she still fits in them, just because I just did like a really bog standard elasticated waist self-drafted pattern for those, but it's funny. So yeah, what I was saying is this fabric has been many things, and this is scraps that are left over from several other projects, and I think there should be just enough to go with this as a thick stripe at the bottom. Yes, Helen? I'll find you some in a minute. Okay, I'll find you some more crafting stuff in a minute. Yes, my little girl is making herself a headband out of all sorts of bits of coloured paper that she's been cutting up into little tiny pieces, and they're mostly leftovers from a crafting activity that I did at the toddlers group that I run. I'd cut out loads of bits of paper for them to be making Father's Day cards, and we had lots of bits left over, so we brought them home, and she's been making all sorts of pictures with them. And now a headband. So yes, but on the wide green stripe, yeah, you'll notice on my picture, got a little bird. There. I'm going to do an embroidery of a bird on it. Now, I've not decided yet whether I'm going to go with a stylized folk art image of a bird, or whether I'm going to go for a more realistic looking bird. But I don't, if any of you have seen the embroidery quilts that Jessica Charlie does, her style of embroidery is the one that I'm going to go for. So it's basically a line drawing, but instead of doing sort of a back stitch across the line, you do more of a satin stitch, just a very narrow satin stitch along the line. And I think I'm going to do that in a brown. It depends how it looks against the green of the fabric. Now, depending on how much fabric I've got, once I've cut out the main pieces. Erica, can you be quiet for me for 5 minutes, please? Thank you. I wanted to try doing some inseam pockets, because I love having pockets on my dresses, but like I was saying last time, the patch pockets, they do feel like the once I've got my phone in, they're a bit heavy and hang forward. So if I've got enough fabric for inseam pockets, I am going to do those. But if not, I'm going to see if I've got enough fabric with this green linen to do some inseam pockets. If I haven't got enough, which I should have, maybe not. If I haven't, I might do some more patch pockets with this. But if I'm going to do it as patch pockets, I will over dye it with the khaki green as well, just so it doesn't look as uncoordinated. I mean, it's still a similar kind of green, just a lighter shade. They're all sort of grey greens. Rather than a yellowy green, if that makes any sense. It might not do, I might just be gibbering. So yes, so that's the dress. Right, now the last part of the outfit, the shawl, I've already finished. So you've not seen anything for this. It's just a finished item. And it's this. There's one end left to weave in, but that was because I was taking pictures of the end of it for something. Now, this shawl I've made to go with the outfit, but I was also making it as part of a yarn review that I'm doing for Minerva Crafts, which I will post links to once it's live on their site. So I can't really go into a massive amount of detail other than telling you the pattern. It's from yesterday, darling. Go put it in the kitchen. Yeah, she's left a water bottle in here overnight. She's like, where's this from? It's disgusting. Stop drinking it and go put it in the kitchen. Yes, I would like to point out that they'd left the conservatory in such an absolute pigsty last night, and I just closed the doors and left it because I couldn't bear to look at it, which is how it had got missed and why it was still in here. I have tidied up the rest of it today, but it was near where she was sat when I was tidying, so I basically just tidied around her. It's my tidying. I don't move things to hoover underneath them. No, just tidy around them. Don't like tidying. Right, yeah, so this shawl is the True Love shawl by Madunea. I'll try and remember to put details somewhere, whether it be on screen or in the Dropbox below. But yes, so it's True Love Shawl, crochet shawl by Madinea, and the yarn is Erica Knight linen, and it's in the Cirrus colourway, which on screen I thought was going to be more of a greeny colour.
Why is it on my eyeliner? My eye.
I didn't say your name.
You had Erica.
I didn't. Oh, Erica Knight. Yes, I did. She's a lady who designs knitwear and makes wool.
That's my name.
Yeah, other people are allowed to share your name.
Yeah,
Sorry about this.
and English name.
Somebody else called Erica with her name. Very rude. But yes, this is a shawl. It's lovely. I've had it on this morning because I was taking some pictures for the review, and even though it's sweltering, this feels nice and cool on your neck. So I think I could happily wear it, even in this heat. I don't know if that's better off.
Yes.
Oh, never try and style a shawl in a mirror image on a podcast. But no, it's lovely. The pattern was absolutely brilliant. It was really clear and really detailed, and worked up really nicely. So I think it's, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But 4 different sections, separated by row spaces, and then the edging, and it's given in written instructions as well as charted. I use the charted because I think when I'm knitting, I think I prefer written instructions, but when I crochet, I prefer charted instructions. It just yes, it goes with the kitchen stuff. The play food. Yes, it is a wooden kitchen knife. It is not a real knife. It's not just randomly finding sharp objects in the house. Probably if you couldn't hear her in the background, then you have no idea what I was talking about. But never mind. So yes, a knife and fork made out of wood. So you can pretend to have a picnic or your dinner. But can you just while I finish? I won't be long. Thank you for bearing with me, despite my off-camera conversations with small children. It's probably really irritated some of you, but this is the reality of me podcasting with children. From September, she'll be in nursery, so we might get podcasts with just me. It will be odd, I know. Podcast with me in the daytime and not speaking to small children. I'm not guaranteeing it though.
And then you make dinner for me.
Yes, I'll make dinner for you when you get home from nursery. Yes, really love this pattern. Would recommend it, and it works really well in the linen. But like I said, once I've finished the review for Minerva, I'll send it off to them, and then I'll make sure I'll put a link in here. I'll let you know on the podcast nearest to when it's goes live on their blog. Usually quite a few weeks before it does, maybe about 6 weeks. Once I've submitted it before it goes live, it depends what else they've got lined up. But yes, I love it. And even though I was expecting it to be a greener colour, like I said, it's Cirrus, and on the screen it looked to have more of a green tone in it. I don't know if it does look a bit greener on screen, but it's quite grey. But because the there's grey in the yoke on the colourwork jumper cardigan, and there's a grey strand in the main body of the wool. For the main colour, it ties in enough for me, and I think there's dark grey in the socks as well. So that's all coordinated and all lovely. Because we've been having this hot weather, I have made more. Well, I made another dress basically because I wanted something that was loose and floaty and suitable for wearing when it was ridiculously hot. So I made the Dotty Angel frock. I don't know how we're going to be able to see this. Oh yeah, there's my pockets. The Dotty Angel frock is simplicity 1080. Now I don't know what I've done with the actual packet to show you the picture, but it'll be somewhere in my craft room, I think. So yes, I made this dress just as a loose summer cope with the heat wave kind of wear. Now I will be able to wear it with an underskirt underneath and tights and a cardigan and possibly a t-shirt underneath, so I can wear it in winter as well. No, I could. I'll talk to you about doing a video for Daddy later because he couldn't play the one we did last time. Sorry. Can you just go play for me? Really won't be long. Yes, so the fabric that I've got for the top bit is just some cotton that I got last year, I think, from a shop near where my parents live. Now, having watched a video recently on how printed cotton is made, I'm not entirely sure I will be buying much more of it. Just the steps in the process of the working conditions of the people that were making it was a real eye-opener. But it was in my stash already, so I'm happy to have used it. And then the pockets I made with scrap fabric for that I made a tunic with beginning of last year when I first started podcasting, and then the bottom brown band is leftovers from when I made the other Dotty Angel wraparound dress at the beginning of the year, so that was also an old sheet. So yes, it's nice. I think I made them 14, 16 size, so it is actually quite big on me. But in this weather, I'm happy with that, and I don't mind it. It doesn't look ridiculous. It is quite generous sizing, I think. So it's quite roomy. The only the complaint I do have is it's got tucks under the, well, supposedly under the bust to cinch it in a bit, and then it's got ties that come out of those tucks. Now, I don't know whether I've just got a particularly saggy bosom or a low bosom, but they do sit a bit too high up, so I'm quite tempted to take them out and put them a bit lower down, so here rather than here. Or if I made another one, I would definitely put them lower down. Now, I think the reason for this is that the darts are in exactly the same position regardless of what size of dress you are making. Now, that just seems a bit wrong to me, because if you're making a size 8, you are more likely to have a smaller bust. You might not, but you are more likely to. And if you've got a smaller bust, they're going to sit in different places. If you're fuller bust, it's going to sit higher up where it was than it would if you had a smaller bust, just because of how far the fabric's having to come out to go around. So I think that is the only complaint I had about the dress pattern. I'm not very good at the pockets because I made my own bias binding, which I am absolutely dreadful at. So it's got bias binding, some blue bias binding that's also like scrap fabric, left over from making a quilt for my friend when she lived in Germany, actually. So it's all got memories in. So yeah, it's got bias binding around the neck and around the arms. It's got French seams. I did French seams on the shoulder seams and on the side seams. I didn't do that on where I joined the fabric on. I think I was supposed to do some bias binding over the seam where the blue fabric meets the brown fabric, but I didn't. The pockets, I've got a little tuck in, so they're a bit fuller but don't flop out ridiculously. But I think because we've got bias binding around the edge as well. I think the bias binding I made was a bit too narrow, so it was really fiddly to get it looking neat and catch everything that I needed to with it. So that's why in the end I ended up blanket stitching the pockets on rather than sewing them on. I also ended up sewing this mostly by hand. I broke my sewing machine making the bias binding. See, there's a reason why I shouldn't make it myself. So yeah, I didn't really break it. Well, I did because I snapped 2 needles, but then I messed up the tension on it, so I need to fiddle about underneath and sort the tension out. But it meant that I didn't really have time to get the machine out and be messing with it, so I just sat down and did it by hand so I could do it whilst I was watching television on a night time with my other half, and a little bit here, a little bit there, some outside in the sunshine, which I can't do with my sewing machine. Well, I could actually, because we do have a power supply outside, but as my sewing machine squeals when it runs, because it probably needs oiling actually. I don't think the neighbours would appreciate me sat there when they're enjoying the sunshine. That's me going sewing something up. Yeah, what I was going to say. Oh, thank you to Lisa and Jennifer for their comments on the last episode. Yes, I think definitely, Lisa, we should knit the mild magic sweater, or at least I'll knit it, and then you can find out whether or not it's worth knitting or an absolute nightmare or just looks very odd. But I've been, again this week, I've been looking at the pattern and the projects for the mild magic sweater, and I think it's looking like a goer later on in the year or at the beginning of next year, because the more I look at it, the more I want it. Although I do think I will. A lot of the projects seem to have knitted an extra band on the bottom just to make it a little bit longer at the front once you're wearing it. So I might go down that route when I do knit it. And Jennifer, I looked at the patterns that you suggested, the crochet one and the Hohi Locatelli one, and I meant to comment back actually, but as soon as I'm talking to you now, I might as well say it. I really like the crochet one, because even though it looks really simple, the projects where people are wearing it, it looks lovely. The Hohi Locatelli one, I think she was contemplating making the easy one, which is an oversized loose fitting jumper. But my only concern with that one would be, when I was looking at the projects, where you pick up the stitches for the sleeves, it does look like it's quite awkward because some of them do look a bit lumpy in the transition from the drop shoulder to the sleeve. So yeah, that I think that'd be my only concern with that one. But it's all good. And thank you for talking to me. It makes me think that somebody's watching and I'm not just waffling to myself for 45 minutes. That's definitely enough for today. All right then. Well, thank you for watching and putting up with small children and no, that way. Small children and dinosaurs in the background. And hopefully you'll have found something of interest there. And now next time, I'm not quite sure what I'll show you. It might be the rest of the outfits finished, or it might be some plans for some holiday sewing before we go up to Orkney, because there are a couple of bits that I need to make for my children and my other half, or I plan to, but given that it's only less than a month now before we go, I'm not sure how well or how much I'm going to get done. Well, fingers crossed, we can try. All right then. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.